What's up, Achievers? If your cleans look like this, then you should probably watch this video. All right, so in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 different concepts that are gonna really help clean up, no pun intended, your kettlebell clean. All right, so the first thing that we wanna do before even explaining the 3 concepts that I'm gonna tell you is just establishing what a kettlebell clean looks and should feel like. All right, so I'm gonna get a set of 4 kettlebell cleans in, and you can just watch from here. We'll get one more for good measure. All right, so if you're interested in kettlebell cleans, more than likely you've explored or practiced kettlebell swings. So you probably have that foundation down where you have a good flat back position, you have a good hinge position. So we won't go over those details in this video. This video is more about relating directly to the mechanics of the kettlebell clean, because there are a lot of different nuances that people can gloss over when first learning it, and it really helps to go over those details first. So what you'll notice during the kettlebell cleans that I was just showing before, what I'm really doing is pushing into the floor with my lower body. And then from there, instead of a kettlebell swing where the kettlebell swings outwards, I'm actually trying to use my arm, pulling that kettlebell back, and then punching my hand through in order to be a smooth and effective clean. All right, where people run into a lot of different issues are when they allow that kettlebell to come all the way out here, and that's where they have to really kind of like reel it back, almost like a fishing pole, and that's how the kettlebell comes crashing back down upon them and really creating a lot of impact and bruising on the wrist. So my first concept for you today is to think about precision first and power second. A lot of people mix those 2 variables up. They want to do force first and then try to clean things up later down the line, but it really doesn't work like that. I really want you to focus on finesse, precision, control, all those sorts of details first, and we can always add power down the line as we get stronger and more efficient with the movement. So how we're gonna focus on precision first and power second is by utilizing what we call a top-down approach. The first thing that we're gonna go over is the spear and the overall sort of roll around the wrist itself, all right? And we're gonna do so without any sort of input from the legs. And we call this the tall muscle clean, all right? So I'm gonna have you grab a really light kettlebell, a 6, 8, 10, 12, somewhere in that region. And all you're gonna do is stand up really tall, and from there, you're gonna just pull that kettlebell in tight to the body, and then spear your fingers through like this. This is ultimately the kettlebell rack position. You know, eventually you're gonna have your hands closed like this if you're gonna do squats and presses and stuff like that. But for right now, all I want you to do is spear your fingers through, because a lot of this has to do with how cleanly and how smoothly that kettlebell glides across that wrist. If you death grip the bell, it ends up becoming very sort of herky-jerky, all right? So you really wanna think about making for a really smooth and efficient roll around the wrist. Now, if you don't have a light enough of a bell, you can grab the bottom of the bell as you're curling up. So you curl up initially, and then use that hand to kind of support you as you go up and down, all right? Alternatively, you can also use 2 hands. So if you wanna be right here, just cup the other hand, or cup the working hand with your non-working hand, and then go there, all right? So I'm just gonna get a couple more reps, and I'll also show from my side as well. So I'm right here, I cup my hand, just like that. And notice how close that bell is, and I'm really trying to keep it as close as I can, and I'm really achieving that. If you look at my elbow, it's kind of pulling back as it comes up, and that's what really keeps everything in nice and close. All right, so that's a tall muscle clean, and it can really help to practice a few sets of that, a few reps of that before your actual sets of cleans, and it might help to just understand how to smoothly let that kettlebell roll across that wrist, all right? Now, secondly, again, going with the theme of precision first, power second, we're gonna use a little bit more force from the legs, but still thinking about that tall muscle clean pattern, all right? So if I show you like this, what I'm gonna have you do is drop just a little bit into your hinge, all right? We're not gonna go all the way down, because as soon as we introduce too much potential power initially, that's when things start to go awry, okay? So right here, you're gonna go very small dip. I'm gonna have you drive through the floor with your legs and then basically get into that exact same clean position. All right, so you're here, drop with the legs a little bit, push into the floor, and bring the kettlebell up. All right, and again, I'm using a fairly light bell here because if it's too heavy of a bell, you're gonna do some funky movements to get the bell up. All right, so I just want it to be really smooth and nearly effortless to get in position. Okay, and again, it really helps to still spear those fingers through at the top to make sure that you're really keeping a relaxed grip, okay? Again, I'll do that one more time. And back down. All right, I'll show you on this side too. Again, slight hinge, push into the floor, and stand tall. Bring it back down. Slight hinge, push into the floor, and stand back down. Okay, one more time. Hinge, and go. All right, now from there, you've done a slight hinge. Now we're gonna try to get that kettlebell actually below the knees into what looks more like a deeper hinge. So again, we're right here, below the knees, and then same exact concept. You're gonna drive through the floor and then bring the kettlebell up. All right, bring it back down, kettlebell below the knees, drive into the floor, and then clean the bell back up, okay? I'll switch sides for you. Right here. And notice that I'm not aggressively jamming my legs into the floor. I'm just doing it really smoothly, just enough force to get that bell into position, because again, it's all about precision, all about finesse, and making sure that those variables are set before adding too much force into the equation, all right? Because adding too much force might look like this. Just becomes, a little bit janky, right? So right here, smoothly push into the floor and make it clean and efficient, all right? Now, the final step after it's below the knees is to go all the way down to the floor. And we call this a dead start clean. So you can be right here, all the way down onto the floor in a one-arm deadlift position. Again, same concept. You're gonna drive into the floor and swing the kettlebell up. Bring it back down, push into the floor, and send the kettlebell back up. All right, so fairly simple. We started with the tall muscle clean, so the legs really aren't contributing at all, and you're just getting that feeling of the bell rolling around the wrist. Then we introduce a little bit of legs, then we introduce even a little bit more, and then finally we're going from the floor, so we're getting a lot more force, all right? So basically what we've done is really eliminated the pre-swing and too deep of a hinge initially, all right? So a lot of people first learn to clean the kettlebell by starting in this pre-swing position where they're here, they hike the bell back, and then they try to learn how to do it from there. But there's just too much power that's already been generated, and it takes a lot of skill for you to temper down that power, right? So it really helps to start with things very much in your control and just learning how to guide and navigate that bell into the rack position in the first place. All right, so concept number 3 is actually factoring in your hinge now. Eventually, you're gonna need to hinge and get that pre-swing in order to create as much force as possible to clean heavier and heavier weight. But again, we still don't like to do it straight from the floor because it's still too much power. So what we recommend is start from this taller position and get into a slight hinge. Now from here, all I want you to do is swing that bell slightly forward, swing it back, and then clean the bell up. All right, so you're right here, slight dip, swing it forward, swing it back, and then clean the bell up. All right, so notice we're just adding in just a small amount of power at a time. All right, so again, slight hinge, swing it forward, swing it back, and clean the bell up. All right, and then same exact progression. I'm gonna go slightly below my knees, and then same concept. Swing it forward, swing it back, and then clean it up in position. Swing it forward, swing it back, and clean it up position. And then finally, this one, I'm barely above the floor. I swing it up, swing it back, and then I clean it into position. All right, so barely above the floor, swing it up, swing it back, and then clean into position. And then finally, that's when we'll actually have that kettlebell out in front of us in order to do our kettlebell clean, and it should feel a lot smoother because you've developed so much skill of trying to figure out how to navigate that bell, how to let that bell roll and glide smoothly across that wrist. You figured out all the precision and finesse details first, and now we can start to add more and more force, and we can swing and clean heavier and heavier weights. All right, so to recap everything, concept number one was to really think about using precision first and then power second. Concept number two was to utilize a top-down approach. So first starting off with how to spear your fingers through the kettlebell, and then going with your tall muscle clean into your slightly dipping clean, into your midway clean, all the way down to the floor and doing your dead start clean. And then concept number three is to pull it all together by now adding in the hinge. Now that you've developed the precision and the finesse capabilities, now you can actually factor in a little bit more power by utilizing your hinge, by utilizing a little bit of a pre-swing, and that's gonna lead to a more powerful clean overall. But after, that's the final step, after you've done all the prep work, all the foundational work of really dialing in the finesse details first. All right, so I hope this video helped you out. I hope it really helped clean up your kettlebell cleans. And if you like this video, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, subscribe, and hit the bell, all that YouTube-y stuff, that would be awesome. And if you have any questions or suggestions for topics for future videos, please leave it in the comment section below. And until next time, sweat out, happiness in.